So you'll have to hit that little thing that says like you're okay with it.
Yep. Okay. There we go.
All right. Okay, we're muted there. Perfect. And all right. Hello and welcome to Intuitively Tuned In with me, Kaileen Cox. I am very excited today because joining me is Magical Matthew. We recently connected. We are in the same area, and I'm just so excited for everything that might be coming in the future and how we align and the conversation we're going to have for today. So welcome, Matthew. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Fate certainly brought us together here. And like you said, we are very close. So it was only a matter of time. So thanks again for having me here today.
Absolutely. So very fun topic we're talking about today. And by fun, I mean, it's going to be fun to talk about, but it's kind of hard, right? It is a little bit. So we're talking about, are people falling asleep or are they waking up? And I'm just going to hand that over to you and you say what speaks to you.
Okay, great. So perfect topic for today, very relevant. I guess in this kind of digital technology information age. So a lot, I guess, is going into that to awaken us and to connect us with people that are like-minded or interested in learning or reading about something. But then, kind of on the other hand, too, people are more falling asleep because technology makes people more dependent on it and less independent themselves in more of a spiritual way. So we can get into that directly. Now, my past as a psychic and as a kind of intuitive, as an empath, as a medium, as many different kind of hats, I have come across all different types of people over the last 16 years. And really my answer then when I kind of awoken and started my journey is very similar to now, that the people that have this certain drive or the fate, let's say, or the destiny to awaken and to research more about what they're interested in, to higher their vibration and, be in more of a state of love every day, those people seem to find it. Now, whether that's in an earlier part of their life or a later part of their life, every kind of soul is different and is learning different things. So the people that I do tend to meet seem to be more on that camp and that category, where they're trying to learn, they're just curious about a reading and seeing where it's going. They're contacting me for healing to get their chakras aligned with tuning forks. And, they've heard it's similar to kind of like a massage, like a sound bath type thing. So, the kind of trust there with people that are awakening seems to be very strong. And the more trust somebody, let's say, has in me is the more I can work with that person on a more deeper and more of a personal level. Now, the opposite will say, over the last 16 years, people have been more asleep too, because you have some people that, let's say 10 years ago were, very spiritual hat on and they read every day and they exercised every day. And then, life hits or they lose their job or they, lose their spouse or something traumatic happens and, they start to lose hope. They start to
Uh-oh. Looks like we lost audio. Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. There we go.
Okay, so look the audio off just for a second. So back in the sleep category, so maybe over the last 16 years, I have met a lot of people that maybe at that time, they've been more open, but then let's say something tragic happens and it takes, them a long time to recover from that trauma or from that loss. And then maybe in 10 or 20 years, they start to, focus more on the spiritual side. But I guess it's kind of a perpetual cycle of duality. Then you have the people altogether that, enjoy more of a comfortable sort of a lifestyle where they'll be focused on pleasures and entertainments and stuff like that. Those people really are more difficult to reach, if at all. So if I happen to come across someone like that, I try to approach, let's say, a psychic reading as something more fun or more interesting, or it doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be this big a thing that's going to transform your life tomorrow, because that could be very scary for somebody in maybe more of a fragile type state. Now, awakening, falling asleep, tale of two cities. Literally, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. So the more technology grows and is incorporated in our daily life, we're focused on what we're doing, but then we're also seeing what other people are doing too. So that sense of, reflection and mirror is a lot greater if you're in front of your phone or your computer, or your tablet, or your smartphone, looking at Facebook or Snapchat or what other people are doing. You're taking an interest in that, and, awakening yourself by involving that, let's say, on a spiritual level with other people. So technology makes that great for, let's say, someone like me to organize an event or a class or a fair, to find those like-minded individuals. So overall, are we awakening? I would like to say yes. More, the age of Pisces is kind of leaving us, the age of tradition, and then the age of Aquarius is kind of coming in. Now more the age of enlightenment, or, divine kind of wisdom and understanding. So all this kind of spiritual, psychic, intuitive, medium type stuff is going to basically take, the average person and say, okay, what's going on in my life and how can I better myself?
Absolutely. So you mentioned 3 beautiful groups of people, right? And I'm just curious, for the people out there, do you think it's like, here's one group, here's another group, and the third? Or do you feel like it's more of like a spectrum? Like, what if someone's out there listening, they're like, oh, I don't know where I land. Maybe it's between where, how do you see that? I'm curious.
Well, let's say the spectrum, I believe, is more definite in periods or cycles in terms of fate and destiny, because I'm a psychic. So I don't have a choice. I have kind of that angels, God, spiritual, divine beings are kind of guiding, our lives, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them. And they have more influence, let's say, over your life than even you do. So choice and chance is very secondary or very minor. So in my belief, there is a camp where you're totally asleep and you're probably not going to wake up, or you may at a later time in your life when you're ready for something like that. 2 is you're maybe halfway there trying to higher your vibration, but can't really incorporate it maybe day to day to, obtain all the things that you're trying to look for in your life. And then there's maybe the third stage, which is you're, whatever spirit tells you you're doing, whatever intuition tells you you're doing, good things are just kind of happening. You're not knowing why or how, but it's good. So just kind of keep rolling with it. So there's, people that are, let's say, less spiritual that are still in that camp because they, let's say, trust their own instincts or intuition. It doesn't matter per se how spiritually connected you are, but that certainly helps you get into that third kind of camp. Now, people can be fluid themselves where they are in their life or how old they are or what kind of challenges they're facing. But I feel like the camps are very definite. Yes. Because then it helps me work with somebody too, depending on knowing what camp they're in. If they're in the camp where I don't really want to hear about all this psychic stuff, I can say, well, I offer clearings with tuning forks, and that will, let's say, with your heart chakra, that tuning fork gives you the sense of like a giant hug. So you'll feel love and peace and happiness after the session. So something like that might be extremely beneficial for someone who has depression, but is, not really looking for enlightenment on a psychic reading or something like that.
Totally makes sense. Thanks for cleaning it up. So I have had other psychics on the show, but I'm wondering what being psychic means to you.
Being psychic means to me. Wow. Well, that says
there, huh?
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously it takes you to a lot of different places, good, neutral, not so good. So being psychic just tells you, ahead of time, sort of what you're getting yourself into. Not so you can change it, but just so you can know what to expect to then better handle the situation or the outcome.
Very interesting.
So being psychic isn't like being, what's that?
Well, I was just going to say, so for you, psychic actually means kind of looking into the future a little bit, knowing what's to come maybe in the next step. Not saying like you're going to tell me 10 years from now exactly what's going to happen, but maybe the next step, or is it the like right now? Because I know the future, very different things from psychics.
Oh, good. Well, the future to me represents, anxiety. So if you're dealing with the future, you have to be prepared for it. You have to be ready for it.
Okay.
So if you're ready and prepared for it, meaning you're in a space of acceptance, not trying to control what the future is, because the future is over here and that's separate. It's like a line of projection that's already gonna come to pass because you said or felt or done something. So it's past, present, future really are all one thing, one line of projection. So I think that the future shouldn't be looked at with anxiety. And that's why so many people, let's say, either turn away or shy away from psychics because they don't want to know what their future holds, not knowing they've already created it and they're literally walking through it at that
Right.
moment. So being a psychic is just having that ability to have that mirror, that reflection right up to you as you're doing something. So let's say it's like a roller coaster ride. You're in the car and you're going up a hill part, and you're about to see down, and you're like, well, that's not really going to be very good, let's say, because I'm about to drop altitude, and maybe I should be scared. Maybe I should be ready for that. You're sorting out your emotions before you actually go into the situation. Whereas normal people, let's say, that aren't intuitive or aren't psychic or anything like that, they're just strapped in and they're just moving along and they don't really know where the track is like headed next. But that's kind of what I feel, that life is very solid on a certain track and you can't deviate from that too much.
So maybe it's like the difference between being psychic is you get to see the ride, and being asleep is you have a blindfold on and noise canceling headphones and you're just kind of on the ride. Very cool. I like that.
Right.
I like that definition for sure. So if someone's out there and they're like, oh, I want to work with Magical Matthew, which I know there's a lot, right? We're kind of similar where we have like 9 things going on at once, but they're all beautiful and all intuitively guided. What are you excited about right now, and how can they work with you?
Well, my website, www.magicalmatthew.com, Matthew with 2 T's, has my Facebook page and all my other information about what types of events that I do. I'll have about 1 class a month or so and a fair a month. This upcoming Saturday here on the 4th, I'll have a big fair at my office. So I'll have, vendors that'll come and do services. I'll be here doing my psychic readings and healings. Now, day to day, I'm obviously here at my office in Lincolnshire doing all different types of sessions. And my website also has the ability to book parties. I travel all the time for more group readings too. That's kind of a big thing for me, even couples readings, kind of dealing with kind of interpersonal relationship issues and talking about, okay, why the energy is this way for this person, what they're feeling, and then the other person, kind of like a mediator or like an advisor too. I have a lot of different skills and we really do feel what's going on for people behind the scenes. And I just bring that right here to the surface. So any event that I'm doing is usually on my website, Facebook page. And I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot of work together. So we'll try to syndicate a lot of stuff that we're doing here too. And Magical Matthew.
Speaking of, we should talk about how next week we're together on a summit, which is called Channeling, Mediumship, Intuition, Oh My.
That's right, the online summit. That's next Wednesday, 1 week from today.
So you'll be live then. It starts on Monday. You get
Monday,
a video, or you get 3 videos each day. You get time to watch them. So if that's something that interests you, join us if you're watching this live. Even if you're into the week, you can still join us, of course. That's going to be really fun because it's teachers like you and I who are teaching them how to do this for themselves, right? So in the analogy we used before, taking off that blindfold and those headphones so that you can see the ride you're on and like embrace it, right?
That's right. The summit's going to be a perfect way to do that from a multitude of different perspectives. So I saw, lots of different backgrounds on people. So I'm very excited myself to listen and watch and to learn.
Yes, absolutely. So join us for that. Check out Magical Matthew. His information, of course, will be in the details of this video. And we'll leave on your intuitive message to the world.
Thank you, Kaileen. My intuitive message to the world would be that the love you withhold is the pain that you carry lifetime after lifetime. So we, as human beings, need to learn to not withhold love this lifetime, raise the vibration of the planet, and to treat each other with love and respect. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for everyone that watched this. Have a wonderful